our interview, Alhaji Sani Shehu speaks on the state of the nation's solid mineral sector and how to take advantage of the nation's natural resources. Alhaji Sani Shehu, you're welcome to the program.
Pleasure to be here.
Well, let's take a look at the solid minerals sector. There's so much potentials that we have there. I mean, we've been touting about this for many years now, but exactly what is going on? In the first 9 months, we know that the federal government did not generate a dime from that sector. Is that so?
I think it will be overstatement to make that conclusion. The federal government has generated a dime. They generated, if I'm not mistaken, over 3 billion.
When was that?
That was from beginning to the end of this year. Over 3 billion was generated. Though the figure may sound small, but if you compare it to what was generated in the past, you will notice a growth in the income portfolio of the sector.
Well, the National Bureau of Statistics said otherwise.
I think even the National Bureau for Statistics has confirmed to the increase of the revenue being generated in the sector.
What increase?
It used to be, I don't like mentioning figures, but for the purpose of this program, it used to be a figure far less than 3 billion, but now it was
Annually.
3 billion. Well, what was generated in the year 2016, for instance, is far below 3 billion. And what was generated in the year 2017, I think it's over 3 billion. So there is an increase in the revenue position of the solid mineral. But what I'm trying to say is that is nothing compared to what would come thereafter. The sector is a sector that requires sustainable investment in terms of policies, in terms of infrastructures, in terms of even the funding. So for us to record sustainable revenue increase in the sector, it will take time.
Is there a comprehensive data of the types and quality of solid minerals investment we have in the country at the moment?
Well, there are, but not comprehensive. Comprehensive data is achieved over time. There is geophysical data, there are geochemicals data that have been generated. And as I said, the generation of data has to be continuous over a given period. Now, the geological data that has been covered, I think, is 1 to 100,000. For instance, if Nigeria is about the size of this studio, and then we disseminate the studio by, say, 1,000 parts, that is, the studio is divided into 1,000 parts, then out of each 1,000, a data is generated. Then, after that is done, we'll now need to to divide the studio into 5,000. We now have to reduce it into 1,000 until we come, for instance, hundreds.
How much time do you need to get this comprehensive data do you think the federal government needs?
Well, it depends on the resources injected for the generation of that data.
Which is, at the moment, very small, right?
Well, it is small compared to what is obtained in other parts of the world. For instance, Burkina Faso injected over about $300 million for data generation in the year 2016, and Nigeria, we injected about $20 million. Burkina 360, Nigeria $20 million. So you can now see the gap. You cannot expect the data generated in Burkina with that huge resources to equal to what was generated with mere $20 million. Let me also say that there is an increase in the government commitment for data generation in the country, because The federal government has approved 30 billion intervention for the mining sector, and I understand substantial parts of this money will be used in data generation. So I think we are progressing.
What sense of seriousness do you perceive from the government when, you know, of course, you have pointed out how much the government really, you know, invests in getting this sort of research done. So what sort of seriousness do you expect, even against the government wanting to generate as much as 141 billion by 2020?
Well, it's realistic compared to the intention now. Now, remember, when the federal government approved that 30 billion naira, they say it's just a start. So if these funds are released and used for the purpose for which it was approved, and then the funding becomes sustainable, why not? We could hit the target.
What is 30 billion against what is really needed at the moment?
Well, it's just a little percentage, but remember, it has never been done before. So while we were somehow excited, despite the fact that the figure is low compared to what is required, is that this is the beginning. And, you know, everything has to have a starting point. If the starting point is 30 billion, which if you convert it to dollar, it's not much. But still, since this is just the beginning, we hope that it's going to be continuous.
You see, the government through the Bank of Industry's mining fund, of course, is supporting local miners with 5 billion naira. You know, how much is this going to help, given this situation, this lacuna that we're seeing?
Well, how much it will help depends on how fast the Bank of Industry has been able to disburse this fund. The dummy check was presented about 4 months ago. Advert was met, but I can tell you with certainty that up till today, no single miner, as far as I know, that has been able to access this fund. So we are appealing to the Bank of Industry to structure a flexible terms in view of the peculiarity of the sector and in view of the peculiarity of the operators. They should structure a product that is realistic in view of the operators and the sector. Loan is meant to be paid, so it's not grants. But if you look at it as purely commercial venture, it will conflict with the social concern that the government, package for this intervention. Government has a social consideration for this intervention. It's a loan intervention. And of course, we are happy that the interest is 5%, which is not usual for commercial loan. And the payment period is also 5%, which is okay. But we advocate that for the small-scale miners who do not have a landed collateral, but who have a visible deposit, because there are deposits that are visible, especially the industrial mineral. You can see a limestone as big as the size of this office. Mm-hmm. So what else you want? You can test the quantity, the quality. If it is okay, that should be considered as collateral.
All right. Thank you very much, Alhaji Sani Shehu, for coming on the program.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your mails and tweets, as always. Keep sending in your views and comments using the email address and Twitter handle on your screen. Also, be sure to share anything happening within your locality. And don't forget, you can view the program on youtube.com/channelsweb/videos. Well, thank you for watching. I'm Gloria Umezuki. Compliments of the season, and see you again.